welcome to the Sunken Submarine Podcast. I am Sammy here with David, and boy oh boy, do we got the episode for you.
Yes, we do. We have. Well, but you know what? You know what's gonna happen this time is I'm gonna let my phone say how many days it's been since you know what, because it's a tragic day, and I have a feeling this time it's just gonna work just right. So let's give it a try.
You know what? It's even better because they didn't hear it the first time.
It failed multiple times a minute ago on this test, so let's see what happens here.
Although, wait, make sure that they can hear your content right now.
Well, let's make
Can
this
you hear
work.
your audio?
Yeah, we can hear my audio. So what happened for all you folks? You
Okay.
folks. See, see, I can hear myself right there, so we're all right. Unfortunately, my microphone that I plugged in and had set up all nicely isn't, apparently it made it more difficult for this to work. So anyways, now that we're here, how many days has it been since December 8th, 1980?
14,223 days ago.
Could you hear that?
14,233 days?
Exact. 23 days.
Oh, I was close.
Yeah. No, it's. Don't worry, it hasn't been that long.
Thank God. I about doubled over and had a heart attack there.
All right. So what's on the agenda today?
All right, so we got good news as well. Today we're gonna go back and kind of reminisce. We're going to go back into season one. We looked at all the music that we reviewed, talked about, had a conversation about, watched a music video of, everything. And we said, all right, what music could stand the test of time and could and ultimately we're listening to today. And then we also looked at kind of what other music was released that we thought was going to be great and just kind of died out and petered out. We don't talk about it anymore. More so, we're also going to go over new content that was released this week. We have the singles, the albums, and we are going to introduce a new format for them. And then, which you probably heard a little bit of already. And then we're going to do a release, a create a song, create a banger, um, create a hit, and you get like your producer, beat editor, writer, song, the singer, songwriter, owner, and then the feature and a genre. So,
I like it. I think that's a good idea.
all right, well, let's kick us off then. Let's go into singles.
Yeah. So we're gonna jump into what actually came out this week. Starting with Beck released a song called "Everlasting Nothing," which I thought.
Did you did you
What?
want to introduce what we're gonna do first? Because you were the one really doing all the talking tonight. So why don't you introduce kind of
Yeah.
the
So
new?
so we came up with an idea. Uh, we kind of just schemed it up and thought it up. So I think what the plan that we're gonna do now is for every song that we agree is a sinker. It stinks. It's sunken. If we both agree for the week, we're gonna put that on the bottom of the ocean. That's a sinker. If there's a song that we both agree with that we really like, that's gonna be a floater, and that's gonna stay at the top. That's gonna, that'll be up there for our favorite songs of the week. If we disagree, that goes in the submarine because the submarine can float and sink. It can go where it needs to. So basically, we're gonna have anything we disagree with as a in the submarine, and then we'll try to put that on social media because I'm really curious actually to see if you guys take Sammy's side or my side on some of these opinions.
Okay, I
That's
love
basically
that.
the
I
gist of
love
it.
that. Can't believe that took us this long to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it makes too much sense. We were just originally trying to see how many days it was since John Lennon died, and now it's like it actually kind of makes sense.
All right. So the first one we were gonna talk about was Beck, right?
Yes.
And I personally, he never really has appealed to me. So I don't really have anything to say about it. And I didn't really listen to the song either because not interested. So what did you think, David?
So I sort of had the same feelings about Beck. I did see him over the summer, and that changed my opinion somewhat. But I really enjoyed this song. I really liked how it started with uh, like a flute. I think it was just straight up a flute, and some the sounds didn't really match at all with the rest of the song, but somehow they fit together anyways. I, like the flute like stood out compared to everything else, but it still meshed well together. It's kind of hard to describe other than that. So yeah, I voted this positive. I don't
Okay.
think I don't think we can consider this. Can we consider this in the submarine if you didn't actually hear it?
Uh, we'll just put it in the floater. I don't have a correct judgment
Okay, for now it's in the floater.
because if I listened to it and I loved it, or I hate it, I don't know. So
Well, it needs a little help. It's on the life preserver tube, the lifesaver tube.
God. All right, and then what's the next single?
Living proof Camila Cabello.
Oh, that's a sinker. Um, she's made good stuff. I don't think this lived up to the expectations.
Um,
And and it also comes down to she heavily promotes a lot of her stuff, right? And this one, she didn't even promote it all. It was almost like she didn't care about this one. Company made her release this as a single.
yeah, yeah. The
I
issue
don't know.
with it is it's not a bad song, but Camila Cabello is just releasing hit after hit. So when she makes one that's just mediocre, it doesn't stand out. And when you're in the pop music specifically, that's just there's no way you can stand out with a song like this that's just got no special edge to it at all. So
Yeah,
so big sink.
that's a sync from the both of us.
The next one, following the sinking vibes, at least in my opinion, well, I'm curious to see what you think, is Up All Night by Khalid. This song made me want
Yeah.
to crawl in bed and go to sleep and like a lullaby.
Yeah, it was kind of boring. I just it's surprising because like I really like Khalid, and I thought this was gonna be great, like everything he makes. Um, but I was not impressed.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I'll ever sit down and talk. Like that's still one of my favorite songs to listen to, but
It's a
this is
great
not it.
song.
This is not it for him at all.
No,
Sink.
I can agree with that. Sinker for sure.
So Reply by A Boogie with the Hoodie featuring Little Uzi Vert. A
It
Boogie
was
with the
even
Hoodie.
worse when you tried. Um, I I don't really like Lil Uzi Vert. I think he's boring. I don't know. I think the best thing he does is his Nardwar interviews. That's about it. So
Yeah, I liked this one actually. So I disagree with you on this one because I thought it had a fantastic beat. I thought it was very well produced. Uh, and I thought Little Uzi Vert did well on this one. I mean, I
and like I said, I think I can see why people like this song. It's just not for me.
so this one belongs, I guess, our first ever song in the submarine.
Yeah, this will be in the submarine. Everybody's gonna disagree with me though, and we can agree on that.
You think so? All
Oh yeah.
right. Well, we'll find out. The next one is by who did the song "Tongue Tied"?
Marshmallow.
No, but the one that's like, don't leave me tongue tied. Oh, Group Love. Group Love.
Marshmallow.
Oh, you can't see my face. We haven't.
Group love.
Yeah. So this one is called Tongue Tied by Marshmello, Youngblood, and Black Bear. And while Sammy's dying over there, I'm going to give my opinion. I think this is a decent song because, well, I was really excited when I saw it. Was what are you going on about?
Thinking about everything that has happened tonight. People are gonna watch this, and I'm like, brought to you by Nail Clippers and San Pellegrino. I pulled the sword out, and I'm like, oh my god, dude. I'm dying thinking about. I have to watch this episode when it's done. It has to be hilarious. The first 30 minutes, I'm talking to myself.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I was planning on cutting that part out, but I guess now that you're telling people, we might have to keep it in.
I mean, if you want to cut it out, go ahead. I just.
Well, maybe we can
I
put
was
in.
just thinking about people watching a live stream and me going with the sword.
I think I'm gonna put a montage of Sammy goes crazy when the live stream doesn't work.
I would live for that. Oh my gosh.
This isn't the first time we've had to like re-record an entire segment before and then say like the exact same things and try to act as excited.
Well, it's tough to act as excited after you've already done it once. Like when we discovered that, and I was like, dude, that is genius. Like, we should do that. It was like hard to bring that back up as excited.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that was a key moment. I wish we could have kept that. But now we're gonna have that. If we continue with this for a long time, we'll go back to that moment of when we made it, and it'll be hilarious.
Because I'm gonna be talking to myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. Go back. I don't know what single we're talking about.
So Group
I
Love
was
released a
lost for words.
song.
I looked down at the sword on my ground, and I was like, "Oh my god!" So go ahead.
Group Love released a song called Black Bear.
Okay.
Did you listen to it?
No.
Okay, well that's good because I meant Marshmello released a song called Tongue Tied featuring Youngblood and Black Bear.
Featuring Black Bear. Yeah. Yeah, this song was a sinker for me. Marshmello releases a lot of good content, and this just did not live up to that. It didn't. It was all. I wouldn't say it's awful. It just wasn't good.
Yeah, as a fan of Black Bear and Marshmello, I thought this would be a better collab, but it's not a bad song. It's just not great for that what I expected out of that collab.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. I don't want to float or sink this one.
It's a sinker for me.
I guess we'll sink it because it doesn't deserve to be floated.
Sink it.
If it doesn't deserve to be floated, we sink it. All right, Everything I Wanted by Billie Eilish. For me, another college lullaby. For Billie Eilish, who I love, not a big fan of this song. I think it's lacking in any experimentation or anything new or anything with energy involved in it at all. So
Did you listen to it from start to finish?
yes.
What'd you think about that like beat change up 3/4 of the way through?
Meh.
Oh, see, I like that, dude. I don't know. I I agreed with you until that beat changed up. Because up to that point, I was like, okay, this is not her best stuff, which it isn't. But I would not sync this by any means. And then when it changed up, I was like, ooh, I like that. So I don't know, it tickled my fancy.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I listened to it twice and it just didn't get me. So I guess this one gets thrown in the sub,
Yeah,
which
throw it in there.
I think this is similar for you. I think I'm gonna get hated on for this one. I think
Yeah,
that's a,
this one, most people will disagree with you.
think that's a very unpopular opinion. So
Yeah,
we need to
it
mark which
is. I
ones
mean,
are in this.
it's number one on Billboard right now. So
So we've got what, 3 in the sub? The
I believe so.
next one, I hope isn't in the sub, is Flames by Rehab featuring Zayn.
Well, I loved it. I kind of already told everybody what I thought of it. I loved it. I Zayn is I think he's a very underrated artist, and I think him on like the electronic beat was sick. I like this
It
song
was
a lot.
so good sounding. It sounded so good.
Yes, it was crisp. It was on point. It got me pumped up. I was in the shower and I was like, "Let's go! This is great." So, big fan.
Yeah, anytime there's like a drop right on the chorus like that with vocals, and then from someone like Vane, it hit right, it hit well.
Yeah. So
Um,
that one's a floater.
why do you have a sword in your room?
I have two.
The next song is "Live Before I Die," uh, Mike Posner featuring Naughty Boy.
Why don't you have a sword in your room?
I have a bayonet sword, so I guess I kind of do.
You have to protect yourself in case of intruders and warriors and thieves.
And Coyote.
So, anyways, I really liked this song. He released it with a music video, and the music video was kind of just his travel. And if you remember, back in season 2, he released that album about Avicii, his father, everybody passing away.
Yeah.
It was on that album he released that song called "Move On," and that music video was kind of just a video of him, like filmed from a phone. You could tell,
Right.
and it would go to black, and it'd say this, I lost my father. Go to go to a video of him and his father. Then it would go to black, and it'd say I lost my best friend. Go to him in a video of him and Avicii, and I go I lost my girlfriend, and so on, right? And it would keep going to black, and words would come up. The music video was actually the exact same way. It was filmed the exact same way from a phone, and it was him walking across the country and kind of his whole story of walking across the country. And I never realized that snake bite that he got, they were going to amputate his leg.
That's crazy.
I didn't realize that. They said he was never going to walk again.
I didn't
That's
know
how
that.
bad the snake bite was. They thought he was going to die on the way to the hospital. They took him in a helicopter, and
I
they're
knew
like, he's
that.
going
I
to
knew
die
they
on the
took
way
him to
there.
one hospital, and then they ran out of the anti-venom, and then they took him to another hospital, and they were debating whether they could even do that or not. But I didn't know.
Well, and then they were at the same time they were debating on amputating. So, like, he's never going to walk again. He's going to lose his leg. I don't know. I thought that was pretty crazy. So, and that all came out in this music video. But then more so, the song itself, I actually really liked. I liked his vocals. I liked the lyrics. I like meaningful lyrics like that. Like, that's heartfelt. You know that is a true story and it came from his heart.
100%. And I don't think he did that to be famous or anything. He did it totally to clear his mind, the whole trip and all of that. And I think the songs that he wrote on the last album in general were some of his best songs I've heard. But But
See, I haven't listened to the last album yet.
and
So.
I haven't listened to this song, so we're on opposite ends on this one.
Anyways, this song is a floater for me, so we got to keep it as a floater.
All right, I'd probably agree. So
It was
floating it,
good. You would like it.
floating it stays. And then speaking of swords, Under the Graveyard by Ozzy Osbourne. I don't know. I didn't listen to this.
You didn't listen to it?
No.
All right. It was like the first time in a long time that Ozzy Osbourne has hit the Billboard Top 200 again. And I like it. It rocks. I mean, it is Ozzy through
The
and
screaming
through.
guitars.
It's only towards the end. It's really more of like, you know, like Hell's Bells, how it kind of starts off with those ringing bells with AC/DC?
Yeah, a little bit more mellow, and then it goes crazy
That was
later.
kind of the vibe of this. And it was creepy, and I don't know, I digged it. If he comes out with an album and it's all similar to this music, this song, I'm in 100%. Floater.
All right, another floater, leaving us at a total of 3 in the sub. And how do we have 3 sinkers? And then 3. Do we have 3-3-3?
No way.
Is that right?
Let's go.
Is that right?
It was like planned to be perfect.
So Living Proof was a sink. Camila Cabello. Khalid was a sink. Up All Night. We said Tongue Tied was. What did we say Tongue Tied was? We said that was good, right? Or no, we said that.
It's in the submarine because I said it was a sink.
Oh, so that's in the sub too. Well, I said it was fine. So yeah, I'll keep that in the sub. I would defend it. Flames we both liked, so that's a float. So we had the least amount of floats. Live Before I Die, I think we're gonna say is a float, and
Maybe it
then
wasn't a good music week.
we're just gonna say float here. Yeah, I mean there wasn't a ton of releases this week, but apparently it wasn't the best week.
All right, and then do you want to do the same thing with albums, or do you just want to list off the albums for them, and then we can jump into what we need to do here?
Yeah, let's just list them off, give a couple opinions. Pretty brief because,
Well, there wasn't that much albums anyway, so go ahead. What's the first album?
First album is Ocean by Lady Antebellum. Sort of like
I didn't listen to, so you can go ahead and give your share here.
It's sort of like their first album back after like their midlife band crisis of just kind of getting tired of everything, and like what do we pour into this one? So they basically made it like really as deep as they could, like emotionally. So it's really really lyrically strong. And Lady Antebellum is always one that I completely forget about, but they're a fantastic group. I mean, this is a really good album. I enjoyed every single song on here. A couple towards the end, like Ocean, or I don't have the album up, but there's another one that was extremely slow, but they're beautiful. They're beautiful songs.
I'll check it out. I mean, obviously, I like Lady Antebellum, so I'll definitely check it. I just didn't even know that they released anything.
Yeah, so there's nothing that stands out different. This is basically them sticking to their roots, being staying true to what they normally are. They're not going crazy, like I said, just lyrically, more in depth. I mean, I was looking into it a little bit, and I think there was some times where they had to like cut the vocals or stop recording because they would start crying or something like that. Like they really got deep. So
yeah,
kind of cool.
Cool. All right, what's the next one?
Everybody's Everything, Little Peep.
Oh, I like this album.
Then start elaborating.
I liked it because even though it was, I mean, you can tell it was unfinished. I mean, the recordings weren't really done, but that's not the point. The point is, and it's funny because I hated this about X's releases. Anything that sounded incomplete I didn't like, and after he passed away. But with Peep, for some reason, even though it sounds incomplete, something about it, and obviously the producers have kind of put it all together, so it sounds a little more all together than X ever did. And I don't
They
know.
well,
I was a
they
fan.
actually took their time.
Yeah, it sounded well produced. It sounded as if this album. You know what this sounded like? It sounded like this album was done right before he died, which I know it wasn't, but that's what it sounds like.
Right.
Because it was so well produced.
All I could think the whole time listening to this is I remember Post Malone talking back when Little Peep died, and he was just going, Little Peep was going to pave a new path in music. He's like, it's going to be completely different, and it's going to sound like nothing we've ever heard. He was paving that way, and he would get choked up just knowing what he could have provided to the music industry. And I think
Yeah, dude.
I think in some ways it sounds similar to Post's kind of style, at
Yeah.
least the way that the background of these tracks go. But yeah, I thought it's pretty stinking good, and it's really weird for someone that has passed like that.
Yeah. It was good. I mean, it was good. I liked it. So, and then what's the next album on the list?
Keep Going, Mike Posner. So I already kind of gave my opinion on this, so I think we can
Yeah,
pass over that.
I haven't listened to it, so
But
we
I
can just
thought it was
skip over that one.
good. He did the same thing at the beginning as the previous album. I think it was the exact same intro, like clip where he goes, "If you don't have 45 minutes of uninterrupted whatever, then don't listen to it."
See, but I like that. I like that as an intro because I think an album's supposed to be listened to as a whole
Right.
piece.
I like how he went a little harder on the beats this time, unlike he has been, like his last album wasn't
Yeah,
at all. So
yeah. A lot of them have mainly been acoustic, so
and the last one, which I did not listen to, is "What You See Is What You Get" by Luke Combs.
well, obviously I'm gonna love it. It's Luke Combs. He's turned into my favorite country artist within actually since starting this podcast. Um, and I really like the album. I do think I hate saying this, but I do think the singles the strongest songs on the album. Um, which is okay. It's all right. So that's my take on his album. It was good. Should definitely give it a listen just for my sanity because I love him.
So I have one more question going back to the Little Peep thing. So you said you had an opinion on you had an opinion on
Ah,
exactly. Okay, so Little Peep died, and then you said the other guy died. Why can't I think of his name?
X.
XXX Tentacion. Do you think that it's morally wrong or weird to make music for someone who's already passed and put it out without their
Yes, we've
permission?
had this conversation before on the podcast.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
sort of remember that.
and I have said time and time again, I think that is outrageously against all my morals and ethics. And I think it's wrong. I think it's 100% wrong. I think it's different if the I don't know. I don't think it's different. It's wrong. You are releasing to make revenue or a monetary reward off of someone else's name that's already passed away. What if they didn't want to release that?
Do you still think it's wrong if they release it? If they released it like unreleased music for free, and you could just download it for free? Would that be different?
No,
I
because
agree.
somebody would still find a way to make money off of it. Now it's different. Okay, let me go. Let me rewind a little bit. I'm gonna take one thing back. Avicii was pretty much done with his album. That's a little different. I feel like it was already done. I mean, it was darn near close to done, and I've heard this. I've read it. When it's that close to being done, maybe you just release it in remembrance of them. You know, like think about it. That name, the name of the album is not. It's Avicii's name, and it was released as a remembrance of him. And that's the last content that they're going to release under his name, at least according to what I've read.
I agree with you because if he started that project, you know that it was his intention to release it. You already
Yes,
know that it was.
and they said that they had it down to um they had the song names in order already done. Like the album was done pretty much. I think they released two or three different songs that weren't on the album. So
Like, so the reason that I was bringing it up is because there was news recently of, well, other than the fact that we were just talking about Little Peep's album, but there's, did you hear about the movie Finding Jack?
no.
So they're making James Dean the lead in that movie. They're gonna recreate him based on old stuff and make a simulation of him that looks exactly like him and make him the lead for that movie. And they asked his family, and his family said that his family approved it. I still think that's really messed up. A movie that
Well, his
he,
family approved it because they want to make money off of him.
yeah, it's a movie that he never heard of, would maybe not have agreed to the part, and now his name is going to be on it, and his face and his likeness.
I mean, I'm that's my belief. I've always thought that was very unethical. And that's why I was so against the releasing of all that X stuff because you could tell it was unfinished. Maybe stuff he never wanted to release. I don't know. I I don't know. I don't know. That's like okay, for example, that's like going into someone's diary. This is what I'm thinking like somebody writes a diary about all their deepest darkest secrets or whatever and then taking that diary and giving it to like an influencer to release it to the world.
Yeah, that's
I don't
weird.
know.
That's
That's
wrong.
what it's like to me.
Yeah,
It just seems wrong.
I agree 100%. But if we
All
were
right.
making money off of them,
Well, that's everybody else's mindset. His
no,
mindset being
no.
an influencer. That's it. So,
All
all
right,
right.
so let's
So
move off of
since
that
we
topic. I just wanted to hear your opinion.
well, we're gonna wrap it up by actually taking Lil Peep and moving it into our next segment. Oops, sorry, I got excited. Um, we're gonna take it into our next segment, which is the season one kind of rewind, and we're gonna go over pretty much some of the content, not all of it, some of the stuff that we covered and what we felt like has lived on and we still listen to. And we're gonna start this off. I'm gonna start this off with Lil Peep. I've been waiting. I know that was the first. It was like the last episode of the first season or the first episode of season two. But I just figured it's a great segue. Lil Peep's album was released. It's on the album, and this was a song from the album. It's with I Love Mackinnon and Fall Out Boy. I still listen to it. I love this song. And I like it so much that I have gotten other people hooked to it. I've got people, all my friends listen to this song now.
Yeah,
That
I
being
remember.
said,
I remember talking about when it came out.
when we did talk about it, we talked about this issue, and I was not a fan of this song. I was like, it's okay.
Yeah, I think the words
I
you
like
said is. I think the words you said is. I like these artists, but when you mix them together, it just doesn't work. It's something like that, I think.
well, it definitely works because that's all I listen to now.
So that's hilarious. Yeah, I still think it's a good song too.
Yeah, I don't know. I still listen to it. Like if I'm just driving, I'll play it still. Why not? All right, David, you can give us a song.
All right, so I have "Down to the Honky Tonk" with by Jake Owen. I don't know how far I'm stepping compared to your list because this is still back. I think this is from episode 2, episode
I
2 of our
actually
podcast,
I actually didn't even write that one down, so you're good.
which I wrote it down because I still do listen to this song from time to time. I heard it when I was in Nashville and I was like in a honky tonk and I was like, this is the first time I've been in one. And then I don't know, it still keeps playing on the radio. The album just came out recently and I think this is one that's stuck around really well since we first talked about it.
I can totally agree with that. Down to the Honky Tonk is a great song. I think it I don't know. Jake Owen, that album was so good. I mean, it really was.
Yeah,
And
the beach
I think,
vibes on that were fantastic.
yeah, dude, I felt like I should have been on a beach listening to it, which I ended up doing. But yeah, that song is definitely lived on. I can't believe we talked about that the first or second episode
August of
last
last year.
just,
Actually, it's
that's
probably
wild.
September. It's
That
probably
it's been
September.
that long.
Over a year.
That's crazy. All right, so the first one on my list from the first episode, which I could not believe when I saw this. No Stylist by French Montana.
Yes, the best song ever.
Song, I listen to this all the time, and anytime I'm like trying to get hyped, that comes on, and I'm like, "Let's go!"
No,
And then I also he's releasing a few more singles, so I have a feeling an album's around the corner. So but when he released his most recent single, well, he released one this week, but when he released the one with Post Malone, I went right back to No Stylist. I was like, nah, this stuff bangs. It's so good.
All right, I love it. I love that that's still on there. It's so weird to think that one that is that long ago, and two that I don't know that things that we found because of this podcast became things that we listen to all the time, which isn't really that surprising, but it's just kind of weird. The second one, which is really
kind of interesting though, like something like that. It's funny because people that I know that love rap, I play this song and they have no idea what it is. And I'm like stunned. And that's like a lot of this though. Like a lot of this stuff I felt like was introduced because of the podcast. I wouldn't have listened to it otherwise.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think it's really easy when you're not in college or at a certain age to stop listening to what's current and what's new and get away from those sounds and that style and sort of forget about it, and go back to what you're comfortable listening to. And I think this is a good way to keep things fresh and new. So
keep it fresh, exactly.
The next one I had that I wrote down, which I thought was interesting because one, I got to see them. So and that felt like a lifetime ago, that it's just impossible for me to think that you introduced this to me on the second episode, which was She's Kerosene by the Interrupters. I cannot believe that I didn't know that song. I don't know how I didn't know that song. You were like, yeah, it's this song I hear on the alternative radio station, and I'm like, they never play that on ours. Now I hear it everywhere.
Yeah.
Just on the radio, it pops up all the time. So it's hard to believe that you introduced that to me.
Pretty crazy. And I was just that song, I loved that song back when it was released. So that's why I was like, because I remember that was one of the recommendations, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We should go back to doing those recommendations. I have one of your recommendations on my list too. So I think we should go back to doing that. I kind of liked getting a different vibe, and you were like, this, and I've never listened to it. I'm like, where does this come from?
Yeah, it was tough.
Because normally
For me,
you
it
and I
was tough to
listen to
pick him
very
out, but I
similar
really
music.
enjoyed doing it. So
What'd you say?
I said it was tough to pick him out, but I really enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, but you and I listen to very similar music. That's why it's tough to pick them out. But we seem to like find one where it was, and we had one every week. I don't know. I liked it. We should go back to that.
Let's do it. We'll do it today.
Do you have one ready?
I'll look at my liked songs. I'm sure I've got something that you don't know.
Because normally I'd pull it up right here on my phone, but my phone's being used.
Yeah, I'll try to get you one by the end of the episode.
All right, so my next one, I had to put it in here. Greta Van Fleet's album "Anthem of the Peaceful Army" and "Love or Leave Her."
So bizarre. It's so bizarre because so my opinion on this at the time is I said this stuff
Can you
is
tell them your take? I'm gonna go grab a pen real quick.
all right. So
Go ahead.
my take on this when we originally started this was that Greta Van Fleet was like I liked their music, but I just didn't think it was gonna last. My take was that it wasn't gonna last because you can't take old music and make it with a new band and have people jump on board for a long time. I thought it was a gimmick. Um, and then after one seeing them live and them just absolutely destroying it as far as their jamming and instrumentals went in between all the lyrics and songs and just their presence on stage was unreal. It's like I don't know. It changed everything about their music for me, and now I don't think they're going anywhere. That being said,
See, and I was a early in what do they call it? An early investor, early
early adopter.
adopter. Thank you. I was an early adopter, early influencer of them, and I was just all about them. And you were like, you were so
I
skeptical.
was
You kept going, I
skeptical.
don't know.
Yeah, you were in the right on this one.
Oh, I appreciate that. All right, and then so yeah, I still listen to Greta Van Fleet. That's why I put it there.
Yep,
I just
listened to
went
him
and got their
yesterday.
album recently, so um, all right, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna give you a few more just because I know I have more than you.
Yeah.
Um, I can't remember the guy's last name, and apparently I only write down his first name. But California by Anthony
Rousseau.
Rousseau. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and I know that was one of your song requests,
Yeah.
and I still listen to that today. I think, and I listen to all of his new stuff that he's putting out. I mean, he puts out new stuff every month. He has a new single out or a new album or whatever.
Are they good? I haven't kept up with him.
I like it. I like this kid. I knew right when I heard it, and you were like, "Yeah, you didn't like it, did you?" And I was like, "Actually,
What
I think."
you said was I can give you the exact quote because I remember you said I think you're going to be surprised about how I feel about this song, and I was like, oh, so you don't like it? Because I really liked it, so I would have been surprised if you didn't. And then you go, I think this is going to be one of my new artists that I follow on almost everything they do.
Yeah, and I do. I was not lying to you when I said that. I still follow him. So
It's so funny that you're
still
able to
follow
pick
me.
that out based on one song too. Although it
Oh,
could have been a
one
self-fulfilling
song, and then
prophecy.
but we did play one more afterwards, and I was like, yeah, I could vibe with this. So, all right, and then the next one I'm gonna do is pretty much anything Bryce Vine. Um, The Fall, Control by Federer featuring Bryce Vine. Kind of like all those Bryce Vine stuffs. I felt like I still listen to him just because I kind of was introduced to him within the past year or two, and you and I went and saw him,
That was
and
so fun.
I'm kind of all about it, and I was like, oh, I dig his stuff. He's more of like, you know what he is to me? He's like Quinn. He's a safety net. If I don't really have something I want to listen to, that's what I
You
go
know
to.
he's
Like
gonna give you the right mood.
Quinn. Exactly. It's like I don't really have a mood today, right? So if I don't have a mood, that's what I go to. It's like my go-to. So Bryce Vine's still up there for me. I don't know if he is for you or not, but
I don't listen to him. I always forget about him. I really do. And anytime I remember him, I always love his music. So it's just one that I always forget about.
okay.
I listened to him for a long time
Sounds
after
good.
that concert.
Yeah. Well, that concert was fun. That was a good time.
It was. We
I
need to
just
do
wish
that
we could have
again.
had more drink.
Yeah, the
And then
concert I was
another
at,
one that I had. What? Go
the
ahead.
concert I was at this week was really weird because it was well, it was Lewis the Child, but it was like everyone there was younger than me. So
Interesting.
they weren't serving drink. You couldn't have an alcoholic beverage in the main like area.
Hmm.
So if you wanted one, you had to be at a bar off
Kind
to
of
the
weird.
side and far away.
That's kind of weird.
And I felt like everyone there
You-
was in like high school.
You'd think that they just like take your IDs. I'm going to see him next week, so we can both talk
Are you
about that if you
serious?
want. Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, I told you I was gonna go see him.
I didn't know that. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go see him, and then we can chit chat about it if you want.
We will.
All right.
I think you'll be pretty pumped.
I'm sure I will. I'm gonna be hype as hell for that. The next one I got on my list is Trench by 21 Pilots. I still listen to it, but it has not lived um as much as Blurry Face did.
Same for me. This hasn't lived up to the first three albums of theirs as far as how much I've listened to it. So I don't know. I don't
Speaking
know.
of, I shoot. If I take this off, is it gonna mess up the whole camera system?
Take what off?
My picture.
Uh, yeah, maybe. I don't know what'll happen. Let's find out.
Oh, let's give it a try. All right, so can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I do have some news since we brought up 21 Pilots. I found this on the internet a couple of days ago. It sent me like a notification and said new news. So here's the news. 21 Pilots has officially, by Alt Press, they did an analysis over the past 10 years, the past decade, since we're coming close to the end of the 2010s. And 21 Pilots has officially earned the best selling rock album of the 2010s. The band's 4 times platinum certified record, Blurry Face, sold over 6.5 million copies worldwide and still has 1.7 million sales coming from the US alone.
Gosh, that's insane.
2015 record sat on the album charts, sat on the top of the album charts for 9 weeks. Overall, it held a place on the charts for a total of 234 weeks. That is, I did the math. Those 234 weeks is the amount of time until Trench was released. Was on the charts. Their Blurry Face album from release till they released Trench.
Wow, that's insane.
That's how long.
So it's almost like they shouldn't have released Trench yet. They should have just waited till it died.
Oh, they could have milked it. They could have kept milking it.
And they clearly milked it quite a bit, though. I mean, they really did.
Yeah, they did.
They kept touring, and
So I wanted to read that news with you though, dude, because I did not know that they sold that many. I didn't know it was gonna get rock album of the decade, and it was unbelievable when I read that whole thing about Blurry Face. And And then I wanted to do this, and I went, oh my gosh, like Trench. I don't even listen to that album. When I go to 21 Pilots, I go straight to Blurry Face.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I'm not counting. I mean, obviously, I listen to their self-entitled and
And Vessel.
yeah, Vessel. Like I listen to those too. I'm just saying I pretty much skip over Trench.
It's still a great album, but yeah, I listen
No,
to
I'm
it
not
less
saying,
also.
yeah, see, and that's why I put it on here. Although I don't listen to it as much, I still do. I mean, it's a good album. It's a great album. It's just I don't know.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm with you on it. It's weird. But that was not a surprise. That was kind of my prediction from the day it came out for myself.
Yeah, you said that.
I sort of thought I would feel that way about it. So interesting. Because a lot of these we're finding
And
out
then,
we thought differently. So
yeah, and then another one was Without Me, Halsey. I would love to see what our review was of this song because it blew up. I mean, everyone knows this song. And I just kind of put it here just because I you can't not listen to it. If you listen to the radio, it's on the radio still. I can't believe that was released last October.
Trench.
Halsey Without Me
Oh, I'm sorry.
and
How's
Trent.
Without Me? That one's. I mean, what did you think? You think it was like really recent?
Oh, it's just still on the radio all the time.
I'm responding to Jet
I
for
don't know.
helping us with the stream.
Oh, is he on right now?
I don't know if he sent a text message. I just wanted to give him props.
Well, I'll give him another one then. Another one I have was "Shallow" from "A Star Is Born."
Yep,
Bradley
I put
Cooper
that on
and
mine as
Lady
well.
Gaga.
The whole album.
Oh, see, I just have "Shallow" and "Maybe It's Time."
The
Yeah, "Maybe It's Time" and "Shallow" are my two big ones.
I absolutely loved that entire album when that came out. I was a big fan of the movie. Since then,
The movie was great.
my opinions changed in that "Shallow" was played so much. It had so much overexposure that it's fun when it plays, but it's just not. It doesn't hit the same as it used to, which is unfortunate. But it became way
Dude,
too
it's weird.
popular.
You know what? It's weird. It's weird when that song is like meant to be very heartfelt and emotional, and then they play it in a club, and it's like, whoa, this just doesn't fit. But everybody sings it.
Yeah, like when we were in Chicago, and then they played it, and everyone's like, "I'm off the deep end." And
Yeah,
it's like,
it's
wait a minute,
weird.
wait a minute. This is about like sad, someone in the shallows. So I guess that shows you a good song if it fits in two different kind of places like that,
Yeah, I guess.
two different settings.
Another one I had was Billy Currington, "Bring It On Over." But I put it here, but I don't necessarily listen to it because it's popular. I listen to it because I have people around me that really like Billy Currington.
Which song is this?
I'd play it for you if I could.
Sing it. Sing it,
No.
Sammy. Remember you used to do
Dang
that?
it, David.
Anyways. I did that to one of my coworkers the other day. His name's Roy. He's like 50 something with kids and there was some song that was brought up and I was like, "Sing it, Roy." And he's like, "No." No.
You tried. You tried.
I just did it cuz I knew it's funny when you would do it.
And then another one I got was "Make It Sweet" by Old Dominion.
Yep, fantastic song, still listen to it.
I can't believe we talked about this all the way back in episode 6 of season 1.
Life is short.
And it was just released last week on their album, or 2 weeks ago.
Is it just me or does that seem to happen a lot more with country music than it does with Like I feel like a pop like okay, if we're talking Logic, he's gonna release a single and then the album the next week. But if like it's I feel like pop music in general, it's the singles come out and then the album comes out like, maybe a month later.
Yeah.
What were you
No,
smiling
you're
about?
right. Nothing. I just got a text.
Okay. Anyways,
I wasn't expecting somebody's watching the show, and I just wasn't expecting it. So, the next one. So yeah, but I do agree. Country, it tends to like almost like you said, it milks the singles a lot more than like a pop song would.
yeah, and I still don't know why that is. I guess pop songs tend to die faster. It seems to be, looking at this list, I feel the same way because a lot of these country songs just seem to withstand the test of time longer than some of these pop or rap songs that when I first hear them, I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. But then a year later, it's like old news.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. You want to take the next one since I've been kind of going down my list?
Yeah, so I had Bryce Vine on here, I had Trench on here, and Star is Born. The next thing that cracked me up, this was like episode 6 or 7. It was in the news, and the news was just Kanye's album has still not released yet.
It didn't release until 2 weeks ago.
It didn't release for like at least a year after that. At least.
Oh my
And everyone was
god.
so mad, but all of his fans were complaining about it over a year ago. And we talked about it on the podcast. So that one got me going. I thought that was hilarious.
Also, I wanted to ask you, do you still listen to Eric Church, The Desperate Man?
Yeah, I do. I love that album.
Do you really? You say you wrote that down?
Did I? Oh, I didn't know if you said did I write it down. Um, I thought I did write it down. I definitely still listen to it.
I'm surprised you still listen to it. I'm
Yeah,
glad.
I do.
You really liked that album.
I did.
And then another one that I put on here was Taki Taki by Selena Gomez. I still, every time I go out, that's like a, it would be weird. It's almost like, you know how when you go to Tim's, it is like, they have the same playlist over and over, right?
Right.
That's how it is around the bars around here. Taki Taki, that's going to be on the playlist, and you're going to hear it in at least 3 different bars you go to.
And everyone's gonna love it. And for me, at least, it hasn't gotten old yet.
No, it hasn't gotten old yet, and it's really cool because when there's like a lot of Hispanics in the bar, all of them are singing it, and you're having the time of your life. It's so much fun.
Taki 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 taki. I don't know. It's just too fun to say.
Rumba.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. Next one I had on here is "It's Not Living If It's Not With You," 1975.
Ooh.
Because this one I still do
Wow.
listen to from time to time, and I don't think I listened to it for a while after we talked about it. And I think I sort of kind of just gave it the shove off, or as in our case here, a sinker. But I have grown to come around and really enjoy that song. So just my opinion changed on that a bit.
Okay. Interesting. I don't have any 1975 because I don't listen to them that often. That's an acquired taste.
Definitely,
Me,
yeah.
So we did apparently, I don't know what AJR we talked about in season 1, but we apparently mentioned them a few times in season 1. So I put them down because I do listen to them, and obviously their new album was more of season 2, and I still listen to that too. So
Yeah, we definitely talked about 100 Bad Days. I don't know if that was the first one, and we talked about Dear
maybe.
Winter.
Do you remember when I made? Do you remember when I committed myself junior year? I didn't last long. I probably got till F. But do you remember each week I made it my goal to listen to only artists
Yeah, I
with
do.
the
I
letter
do.
A
You made it
or
to F? I
B
thought you
or
made it to like
C?
A.
No, I made it to F.
I do. That was a cool idea, but that's also a lot of commitment.
It was a lot of commitment and it sucked because there were days where I did not want to listen to like ACDC, but I wasn't really given a choice. I only had so many options. It was ACDC or Akon.
Plus, you were mixed with the issue of having to listen to music for this too. So then, or I guess that wasn't at the
No,
same
dude.
point. This was before that,
No.
wasn't it?
This was junior year of college. Back when we were making stupid commitments like cold showers and other commitments.
Oh, yeah, like that. Anyways.
um, so all right, so now we got two hits that are still on the Billboard Top 200. Sunflower, Post Malone, and Sway Lee, and Sicko Mode, Travis Scott and Drake.
I'm really disappointed that Sicko Mode is still up there.
Why? It's the Bohemian Rhapsody of rap, of hip hop. It's the Bohemian Rhapsody of hip hop. The beat changes, the tone changes, the rap changes.
Um,
It's a wild song, dude.
it's a good song, but it's like, it's what? It's been a year. I mean,
I
again. I
think
guess
that's the best hip hop song released in the past decade.
you heard it here first.
I
Sunken
do.
Submarine
I
podcast.
do.
Probably didn't hear it here first because I'm sure that's a lot of people's opinion. I just happen to disagree, but it's not a bad song. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck out of it when it was new, and then it just again, I think a lot of some of the overexposure on them just killed it for me.
Yeah.
But
I just
but
think
then I
it's
think
the best
about
recorded. It's the best recorded one. I don't know if it's my personal favorite. It's the best recorded one because obviously my personal favorite's probably going to be a Gambino song or a Kendrick or a J. Cole song. So,
yeah, yeah. I
and
mean, I
obviously John Elgar is going to think that Logic had the best song. So it is what it is, right?
but as far as Sunflower goes, I never thought that song was gonna live up to. I never thought at all it was gonna be this successful because it's so different from Post Malone's normal style. I never would have guessed that it would have done this well.
Plus it was for a movie.
That too. I think that's part of what helped it.
See, but most times let's be real. Most times when somebody sells out like that to a movie, one, they lose their success. They pretty much suck from that point forward. But two, that song doesn't do as well for so long as this has.
What about Live and Let Die by Paul McCartney?
Was that for a movie?
Yeah, James Bond.
Yeah. Was that on the charts though?
I don't know, probably. I actually have no idea.
Because that's different. Because I know what you're talking about, but that was more of like a franchise staple.
And Spider-Man is that's true.
That's like saying he's
Just
a
kidding.
pirate.
Obviously,
By
Spider-Man
for
is.
Pirates of the Caribbean should be on the top 200 Billboard. I mean,
But this is Spider-Man.
yeah. That's why I'm surprised. I'm saying that I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. Well, anyways, I just really didn't expect this song to last. I didn't expect it to be big in the first place, and I was very mistaken. I think it's a
Alright, so
nice
this is
song.
one
I think it's clean, and I think kids get to listen to it too, which doesn't happen with a lot of pop songs.
true.
I think that's something
That's
that
true.
bodes well for it.
You're right. I agree with that. And then the next one I have is gonna severely surprise you. Is Zayn's album Everything Zayn, Rainberry. Good times. I don't know. I felt I really liked all that stuff leading up to it, and I remember telling you that, and I still stand by that. I think it's awesome. I love Zayn, and I know Zayn's not on your list.
No, and my memory of that is the same. It's that I loved every single song that I heard, and I was like getting really excited for it all, and then I just never listened to it since.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's how I felt about a lot of this stuff, but that was one of them that were, I was like, this is great, and I know I'm gonna listen to it afterwards, which I did.
I mean, I think
So,
we rated every single song he came out with as good. I mean, really.
oh yeah, oh yeah. So, all right, and then some of the ones that I have that I'm surprised, kind of, they were huge, and then they just dropped off was Future Juice World presents World on Drugs, Armed and Dangerous Juice World. You know, I just feel like those were there and then they were gone. Say My Name, David Guetta, Bebe Rexha, they're gone. It was just kind of weird that they just kind of fell off. And then speaking of those that fell off, I felt like Eminem and Lil Wayne's albums both kind of fell off. Now I want to have this conversation with you because I know we said we would talk about this on the podcast at some point because we both talked about it and debated it over text. Kamikaze and the Carter Five. Now, back in the day, when we did that episode, you said that, or we read an article, and it
Yeah.
said this is the end of an era. It
Yeah, it
said
was a
this is the
Rolling
end of the
Stone
era.
article.
It said artists like Kanye West, Lil Wayne, Eminem, the 2000s rap artists. These two albums, Kamikaze and the Carter Five, were going to be the end.
Yep,
That's
it
it.
would
It's
symbolize
done.
the end of all of it.
And what did you? So initially we were like, nah, that's BS. That's never gonna
Completely
happen. It's
disagree.
not.
Completely.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous, right? So then about a year later, I mean, straight up, I'd say within the past 2 months, David texts me and says, "You remember when we said that about that? Well, I think we were wrong. I think it is the end of an era." Now, I disagreed with David. I said, I think you're wrong. There are artists that are well made off today that release albums that don't get any recognition. Look at Taylor Swift's Reputation. Had one hit from the album. That was it.
Yeah.
So that was my argument there. Now, I will say they're irrelevant today. I mean, Kamikaze, if somebody brings that up to you, you're like, what are you listening to?
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was fine.
But I will say, Eminem's album was a diss album. It was not made to have a hit that was going to last for a while. I mean, we've seen Eminem when he releases an album that has a hit. Look at Not Afraid. That song lived for a while, and I
Yeah.
think he can do that. The album was made more to diss those in office, artists that have, dissed him, whatever the case is. So that was what I felt about Eminem's album. Lil Wayne's album, I felt like he just waited too long to release it, and people were ever.
I agree with
And
that as well.
I think he lost fans. I do.
He lost me as a fan, mostly. I mean, I still consider him one of my favorite artists of all time, but I wasn't listening to him consistently during the time before releases. I mean, there wasn't enough new content to feed off of. And frankly, I Am Not a Human Being too was terrible.
So I disagree still. I still think they could release something that slaps. I mean, if Lil Wayne got together with someone like Drake again or Eminem, it's gonna be awesome. And people will listen to it. It's gonna be a hit. It'll last. I just think that both those albums just missed the mark. And I think artists have albums like that.
Definitely, I agree with that, but I think their heyday's over. I don't think they're gonna be. I think it's a new era. I don't know how else to put it. I remember being angry when I read that article because these are artists that I really really like, and I'm like, no, they're still relevant because I still listen to them. And then I'm realizing the generation of most popular music is high school and young college students, and I don't know if they're
Yeah.
listening to Lil Wayne. And us,
Well,
of course, at the Sunken Submarine.
true. So, anyways, that's my vibe on that. And then the other one that I wanted to comment on was John Bellion and conversations with my wife, JT, and just the overall album. I forgot what it's called. Do you
uh,
remember?
I don't remember either. What is it? I didn't listen to it at all. That's why.
Oh, see, and I do. I still listen to it every day. So that's actually interesting that you don't.
I just I never liked it.
Maybe you need to give it a shot.
I did a few times and I just got so stinking bored with the thing. Oh, Glory
There's
Sound
some
Prep.
rap songs. There's some rap songs on there that are awful, but some of like the other stuff on there I like. So I don't know.
Yeah, Glory Sound Prep, if you didn't hear me say that.
Glory Sound Prep got it. Yeah.
So that one was interesting to me because when it came out, I was extremely excited, and then that one got missed, got lost.
But it was cool. Yeah, because it was like Trench and then John Bellion, and we were like, oh my God, like this is so great.
Yep, that was the end of an era.
No.
I'm kidding on that one. I don't believe that for a
He's like
second.
such a new artist. There's no
I
way.
know.
And then another one I put was A Million Dreams by Pink. I still hear that on the radio, surprisingly enough.
Okay.
Um, and that's that song from that movie with Hugh Jackman, The Greatest Showman, and then she was on that remake album that I was all hype about,
Right.
and that song I still hear on the radio every now and then. So I put that one down because I still hear it. I personally don't play it personally, but I hear it on the radio. And then another one I put down was Chris Lane. I don't know about you. We did a music video review. We didn't even review the song. We did a music video review back in week 8 of season 1.
Which song was this?
And then I Don't Know About You by
Oh,
Chris Lane.
yeah.
What's your name? What's your sign? What's your birthday?
Love it.
Um, and then all of a sudden, I'll never forget. We did that music video review, and then he was completely irrelevant. I didn't listen to it, nothing. And then all of a sudden, around last year, so second season, I started listening to it. I was like, this is really good. Like, I'm gonna listen to this more. Started listening to him more, and then all of a sudden, University of Dayton announces that he's going on to, or that he's coming to UD. And I was like, David, we gotta go. We did a review on this, and I'll never forget. On the phone with you, I said that, and you go, "We did." You did not even remember it. And then I played the song for you, and you were like, "Oh, okay."
It's kind
So
of funny because I just did the same thing because you said the song name and I didn't know what it was, and then when you sang it, I'm like, oh, I love that song.
yeah.
I just don't know the
So we
name.
saw him live.
What's the name of that song?
Chris Lane. Chris Lane. I don't know about you.
I don't know about you. See, I still am gonna forget that.
So that song was like I played that religiously second semester of last year.
Yeah, I love that song.
And
Too.
yeah, he definitely has grown on me, and I still listen to him today. So that's something from season 1 that I still listen to. He was actually the influence for this, like going back a season to see if what stood the test of time, because I knew that all that had happened. It's almost like he's growing with us, and I thought that was kind of cool. So go ahead and give me a few.
Sorry, I was making weird faces into the camera.
Oh, okay. Then I'll give you one more. Kids at Play EP, Lewis the Child. You said you just saw him last week, so we know you listened to him. I'm probably going to go and see him next week, so you know I listened to him. I think that's kind of interesting. And you were all about the EP when it was released. I'll never forget that. And I kind of liked it. I thought it was a cool, unique style. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, I'm never going to listen to this again. And now I do. So,
Yeah, Interstellar blew my mind on that day, and I listened to that yesterday, and I'm like, it still sounds so cool. So that was a good day when we listened to that. Do you remember that? We just turned it up as loud as possible on those crappy speakers in the studio. It's like, yeah, that's fun.
and we were like standing on the desks, and we were like, yeah.
No, I don't. We never did that.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. My mom's calling.
Oh,
Did I already cover all of yours? If I did, I can just keep going down the list here.
30 wolves, 28 sheeps, 30 wolves, 28 sheep. How many are left?
What are you talking about?
30 wolves, 28 sheep. How many are left?
Well, how many animals are there?
30 wolves, 28 sheep. How
Yeah,
many are left?
I get that. There's 58 animals. How many do we need?
What?
2 dogs.
No. I'm asking. I'm telling you. I'm asking you.
I'm asking.
30 wolves, 28 sheep. How many sheep are left?
0. Were the wolves hungry?
Yeah.
Then there's 0 left. They're feasting good tonight, boys.
Okay. So the
0 sheep. All the wolves live.
The next song is
I just got a text saying I thought David was having a stroke just now.
Oh man. Well look.
Speaking of David and strokes.
By the way,
no.
By the way, the answer is 10. So just thank you.
What? All right. The next song.
20. There were 30 wolves, and 20 of them ate sheep. There's 10 left.
Then they weren't hungry.
Well, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of like wool to get through.
Huh.
So I
Did
mean,
they
they were
milk the
hungry. They
udder?
just didn't want to peel it.
All right. Next one I got is Chances by Backstreet Boys. Still listen to it. Still listen to that whole new album. I love the Backstreet Boys album. Emoji by Galantis. Went and saw them. Still listen to them. Pretty hype. Glory Sound Prep, we already talked about.
Yep.
The Experiment, Kane Brown. You want to hear the weird thing about this? Kane Brown, when we started this podcast, I did not like him.
You didn't like his music?
And I'd say I didn't think he was that great. And then now, after doing the podcast, he's probably my second favorite country artist after Luke Combs.
Dang, I love him. But what I didn't realize when we had started the podcast, because I hadn't seen music videos, I thought he was white.
Oh.
That was just something that I didn't know until we started this thing.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I wanted to say about this album is, interestingly enough, you know how Kanye always says that he wants to improve each album? Brown releases, rather than releasing a single, he re-releases his album, but he adds a new song, and he's been doing it all year.
That's so strange. So it was the previous album that blew up?
If you go to Experiment right now, I bet you there's at least 5 songs on there that you have not heard.
Really?
From
All right.
let's say you haven't listened to this. Let's say you haven't listened to the album since we did the review. I bet you there are 5 or 6 new songs on that album.
Interesting. I did not know that.
It's almost like rather than releasing a deluxe version, he just re-releases it with the new songs.
Next on my list, Tiger Teeth, Walk the Moon. I think we thought this was really good. I haven't listened to it at all, and I remember liking it.
It's funny you say that because I thought the same thing. I liked it too, and I didn't really listen to any of their new stuff at all, except for one put in front of the other.
And then Oxnard I had on here by Anderson .Paak. Wow, I mean that one still comes back around because that was a fantastic album.
Funny, I don't listen to Anderson .Paak at all.
Never.
Nope, didn't come back for me either.
This is weird. This is really weird because it's funny how I feel like we always kind of start with a similar opinion, and then it's interesting that we took off on different things.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting. Like Jon Bellion, that's so weird for me that you don't listen to that.
I just wrote Weezer is still disappointing.
I wrote the same thing. I wrote Weezer sucks. Because I saw Zombie Bastards in there, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, cringe fest.
Oh, the other one that I have. Hold on. The other one that I still listen to is this bad boy.
Simulate. Oh, all right.
Muse Simulation Theory. Got the record and everything.
And the player set up for you so you can use it.
Exactly. Talk You Out of It, Florida Georgia Line. Obviously, that was a single that was released for their album.
So good.
And I listened to their album.
So good.
Steve Aoki, basically anything Steve Aoki I listen to because it's wild.
Yep, I still do too. We need to go to Vegas and see him.
I'm 100% in.
Okay. See you next week.
Okay. I'll get a flight out tomorrow.
Okay.
And then another one I had was ZZ by Kodak Black. Do you remember that one with the steel drum in the background?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of, I also wanted to mention more news. He just went to jail this week. He was holding guns illegally, and he was arrested right before he went on stage because he was holding them right before he went on stage. And he's been going through these trials and everything, and they came to the verdict last week that he is going to jail for 4 years.
Whoa.
No parole, no nothing. So he will be released in 4 or 5 years. And he got to jail. Get a load of this. He got to jail, and he sent a guard to the hospital. He squeezed a guard's genitals to the point where the guard had to go to the hospital because it popped.
Oh.
And now his lawyers are saying that he was drugged and that this was a setup.
I don't know. I mean, those sort of things get so messy. It's so hard to say.
So, anyways, Kodak Black, he's going to jail. Good news though is that that guy, what's his name? The
Paul
guy that
Bunyan.
released that song. What?
Paul Bunyan.
No. Hold on. Disappearing for a sec. Bobby Shmurda.
Oh,
Bobby Shmurda's coming out in 2 months. So we're losing good music for good music. And then another one that I had, and these two are my last two, are Foster the People, Sit Next to Me. That is like my favorite song right now. And we covered that in the first season. I don't
yep.
know. And then the last one I had was Going Bad by from the Championships album featuring or with Meek Mill featuring Drake. That song still bangs. I love that song.
And I had on here I think it's called what was it? Anyways by Arctic Monkeys. And I don't remember if it was good or bad, but I can't remember. I haven't listened to it. And that just was another one that
Yeah.
bothered me that
Neither have I.
I love them so much. I can't believe that somehow I haven't listened to that. We must have said it was not that great.
Well, I told you, as much as I'm an Arctic Monkeys fan, I didn't really like their new stuff.
I think that must have been why. But
Yeah. Oh, and then Thank You Next. I don't even listen to that anymore.
no, yeah, the whole Ariana Grande, I talked that up as being one of the best albums in a long time from any artist. I don't even
And it's
listen to it
completely
anymore.
gone.
Like Seven Rings, I thought was fantastic. So I still think it is, actually. I just don't happen to listen to it much anymore. But what can you do?
All right, you want to wrap us up, David? It's 8:30. We're going to save the create a song for next week. I'm writing that down right now. So we'll create the song banger hit for next week. Sound good?
Yeah.
Because this filled up the episode. I mean, we did a whole 2-hour episode here. So
Have you ever heard the song Love Me Less with Max featuring Quinn?
yes.
Okay.
Would you love me less?
Yeah. I'm trying to get. What about Alive? Yogs featuring Quinn. I'm just looking at some of the things that are at the top of my list.
Don't anything Quinn related I've heard.
Polaroid
Yeah.
by Robbie Coex. Okay.
I may have heard it.
Truth Hurts by Lizzo.
Never heard it. All I know is I'm a 100%
All right. I'm trying to think of something that you might not know. Obviously, that one was a joke.
You can just text it to me. We've done that before.
All right. I'll have to text you one because I know I've
Yeah,
got
don't worry about it.
I know I've got a list here. So I'll wrap us up. We want to do. So yeah, I can't think of all the stuff we were gonna do. Oh, we were gonna try to do our producer song artist mix together. We're not gonna do that today. We're gonna save that for next week's episode on Sunday. We'll be prepared. It'll probably be around the same time, probably 7:38 Eastern time. So look for us then. And that concludes the Sunken Submarine podcast for episode 5 of season 3. And after that sort of recap, it's like, man, we're vets.
We're doing pretty good.
So next week, like I said, we'll do we'll do that review. I think we're looking into potentially creating some merchandise. So we've said
Tell
that
her to do
before,
it.
but we're actually going to do it now.
Yes.
And we'll be here the next few weeks. So check it out. We're gonna have to crop out the whole beginning of this episode and make a
Goodbye.
mob. All you need is love.
I will
Goodbye.
say You don't need to crop out the beginning.
Yeah, we'll see.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done. Arrivederci. Have a good week.
Goodbye.
Bye.